The garden is really looking stunning now. We've been through a drought. It's still rather dry, but it is starting to loosen up a little bit. We had a little bit of rain yesterday, and we are gonna get some more here today. The bumblebees are active here in the lamps here. I really like the lamps here due to its grey foliage. Just look at the difference it makes right here in contrast to those green plants behind it. I think it would look bad if all of them were grey, but it really looks great if just a few of them are. Also, I do plant quite a few of my plants are selected for the quality towards pollinators. Of course, there are some exceptions that are picked just because I like them, right? Some of my roses here are between flushes, but just check out that Veronicastrum right here. This is Veronicastrum erica. It blooms a bit later than most of my other Veronicastrums. Actually, I think it's the last one to bloom. And it is just looking great right now. Not that many bees and butterflies in it at this point of time on the day, but it is actually a bee and butterfly magnet. And I'm sure that if this had been a sunny day, there would have been quite a few bees in it. If I back up a little bit, we will see how it looks from my kitchen window. And the view from my kitchen window is like this. That's not all bad. And also, yeah, I have this some shade for my windows here because my house does get rather warm due to the sun on the windows. But other than that, it is a really great view right here. The daylilies are also looking great. I've not cleaned them up. You can clean them up to get them looking even better, but I still like it. And there's quite a few hoverflies in them. The hoverflies actually seem to really enjoy these daylilies. The helenium here in the background is Helenium Moorheim Beauty. And that is a real bee magnet. There's actually quite a few bumblebees and hoverflies in it. And normally there would also be some butterflies. It is looking really great. My apple here is also beginning to look like a real tree. It has gained some height and I do need to take out some of the shoots. I think I might need to remove an apple or two extra from that branch that goes sideways into the border. And the reason why is that last year I actually had to stabilize that branch in order for it to not bend down when the apple matured. So I think I might remove some extra fruit from that one, depending on how it goes. Yeah, I do want to maximize my output from it, right? Yeah, another Veronicastrum erica and some extra daylilies right here. They are really looking great. Also, I should have deadheaded that sage there. It's Casablanca. I have actually put in some additional ones of those here and there in two places. I've put in some extra ones. And I hope they'll form a nice clump just like that one. I think the lawn up here has become really great. You can basically see where the new grass is due to the color difference. You can see that patch in the middle there is a lot newer than the old grass. Also, I've had to water it, so it's a lot greener as well. But I think it is a nice effect to have it as grass up here instead of a border. It did feel as though the garden was just one long path And now there's sort of a room up here, and I do like that. So there's this nice room up here surrounded by a border. Also looking great in this border, I think, are the oreganums. You have to take a little bit care so that they don't take over completely, but I really like them because they are bees and butterfly magnets. They must produce a lot of nectar or something like that in order to attract all of those bees. All in all, I like the view of that border over here. Also in there, a couple of hydrangea, and it's hydrangea pinnaculatas. Hydrangea pinnaculatas are my hydrangea of choice here because they don't freeze to the ground. And I always tend to go for the ones that don't have that big of a bloom. Sometimes they have these really huge clusters of bloom. It can look really amazing, but here in my garden, those varieties have a tendency to flop. So here in my garden, I'll always go for those that don't have that big a bloom. Again, this is looking rather great. Let's just back up and just look at it from afar. I think next year, when that tree peony over there gets some size, it'll look great. Also, I have that variegated pear here, and I think that's looking great as well. That's a purely ornamental pear with that gray foliage. Also looking great in there are the, what are they called? The hostas are looking really great in there. Also, I think foliage-wise, I really like that light green of this tree here. Oh, I cannot remember the name in English. I think I had that issue last year as well. In Danish, if I translated it directly, it's a 7 heavenly suns tree, due to the blooms of it having 7 petals. The blooms are rather small though, and it's not in flower yet. It's one of those that flower later in the year. I think this corner in here is actually shaping up really nicely. Rose right here. Rosa Gauca, again selected for its leaf, but also for its really nice seeds. These seeds on it will become red here later in fall and will look really great. The rest of the border over there, yeah. A yellow daylily. I use yellow sparingly, but I do have yellows here. And I think that yellow daylily is looking really great. A bit smaller flowers on it this year though. I do blame the drought. Yeah, things have been affected by that drought. Also here, Allium millennium. Looking really great, has only just started flowering. It's also a bee magnet. It's sterile, so Allium millennium will only spread by forming a larger clump and a wider clump as well. My rose, it's a David Austin rose and it's Silas Mana. All in all, again with the oreganums and so on, I think this border is looking really great. Veronicastrum in there was planted in and divided heavily last year. Will become quite a lot taller next year, I hope, but it has survived, and that is the important part. And yeah, of course, I do have quite a few geraniums here. Geranium Roseanne, the blue one, is looking really great. I have had a little bit of an issue with my Roseannes this year, and that is that they did dome up a little bit. They sort of formed a dome in spring and early summer, and last year I actually trimmed it down a little bit. so that it would spread sideways instead. And this year I didn't, and unfortunately quite a few of them flopped, and hence I reacted by trimming them. So some of my geraniums here look a little bit bad compared to what they usually do. The drought unfortunately made it so that I had to water quite a lot in the garden this year, because I've moved so many plants and planted in new ones, and also I planted in some trees last year, and these trees they are just not able to do on their own yet. So if you plant in rather large trees, remember to water them. Do give them a lot of water, even in the following years, in my experience. And when you choose to water them a lot. Water them a lot, you know, like soak them. Oh, nice looking butterfly right there. And again, this is my my more established Echinacea Magnus. And as you can see, it is looking really healthy. Bees and butterfly really like this Echinacea right here. As you can see, there's sort of a nice little amount of butterflies in it, and they do enjoy this Echinacea. Even on a bit of a cloudy day like today, there's bees and butterflies in this garden. Moving along from that Echinacea, you can see that I have a lot of red valerians that have now stopped blooming. And what I should have done quite a long time ago is I should have deadheaded them. They do respond really well to deadheading. You can see down there is one that I have deadheaded, and it's looking so much better, right? And what I really should do here is just deadhead them to 2/3 of them should basically be removed, and then they'll respond by flowering again. But I will remove some of those red valerians. Not all of them, but just some of them, because they have seeded in rather aggressively over here. Also looking great in here is the phlox, and also with that daylily in front of it. It is looking great, but it is also looking a bit dry, right? These two are actually the same variety. You can see the phlox in there is doing better than the one out here, and the one out here has not gotten as much water. And that's because I have been watering that tree in there that's still rather newly planted, and I think some of that water has ended up on that phlox, so that's why they're looking so different. Yeah, the daylilies are looking great. Yeah, Rose, Lady of Shalott. Yeah, this is actually how it looks when it's between blooms, believe it or not. But this is when it's setting up new flowers. Yeah, you can see, oh, there are flowers here, right? But do check it out. There's actually more flowers on the way here. So it's actually sort of between flushes right now. Down here I had a project ongoing where I moved the path here a little bit more to the north. That direction is north, right? The path only just used to just go around just here, and then in this border here there was grass, but it did not line up with those living room windows. Hence I moved the lawn a little bit more to the north. This up here is the view from the house now, and you can see from my living room area here that it would be a nice path into the garden, right? And also there's a tree on each side here that will fill in over the years, right? And should look really great in a couple of years. Also, I've been watering that pear down here a lot. It has a really nice root system though, but it was moved this year, and hence I'll have to water it at least the next 2 years if there's any kind of drought on. And this year especially, since this was the year it was moved, right? Right here, what is this weedy patch in the middle right here? Between that pear and the daylily? Well, that's where I'm gonna put in a path. and I'm gonna put in a path so that I can get into those blueberries at the back of my border. Also, of course, I'll remove the weeds, I'll put bark on it, and I'll not put in any plastic liner here. And I will remove the plastic liner in here and add in bark in here as well. And then see if I can keep it using just bark, basically. But the drought has impacted them a little bit, but the berries are looking really great. Also, last year they were eaten by birds. This year, my cat has decided that this in here is basically the perfect spot, and hence the birds have stayed out of my blueberries. So that is a great spot for that cat. My original plans for this corner down here was that I wanted a kitchen garden, but I changed my mind a couple of years ago, and now there's a lot of perennials in there, and butterflies and so on, right? And quite a few of these perennials are not new, quite a few of them are just moved from that other border. And I think it is looking great. And it will look even better next year when it fills in a little bit, right? I have a couple of plants in here that could do with some deadheading. Yeah, again, that Nepeta could do with a bit of deadheading. Perhaps I'll prioritize that because it's so easy to cut down, right? Just trim it to 30 centimeters above ground and you're done. Also, another hydrangea pinaculata. Again, the pinaculatas do best for me here, and again one that does not have too big a flower, or rather the individual flowers are really small, right? But not that big a clump of flower that it gets too heavy for the stem. Also in there, a Kew garden rose. You can see it there, and also I do need to remove some plastic behind that border, but that is what it is, right? But it is actually starting to look like an actual border right here, and I do like that look. Over here, hydrangea Pinky Winky died on me, yeah, same as that rose. I had the two sudden deaths that were really unexpected in spring. But hydrangea Pinky Winky never woke up, and that's totally unexpected, to be honest. They are normally extremely hardy, and we did not have a winter that was bad enough to kill it, so I have no idea what happened with it. But anyways, I replaced it and I put in hydrangea Little Lime instead. Yeah, I have a hydrangea Little Lime right here, newly established. Should have the same qualities as hydrangea Limelight, but not get as big. And I do like hydrangea Limelight as well, and that is the plant up there. Yeah, you can see it up there, looking really great, right? But I think it would be too big for this corner next to the rose. Right here next to the Little Lime, I also have a sea holly. It's one of the smaller varieties. It should not have as big a tendency to flop as some of the larger ones. It still has flopped a little bit, but I don't think it matters as much when they're not taller than they are. Should not be bigger than a foot or a foot and a half or so on, right? 40 centimeters. I think this path right here, first of all, I said it really needs some deadheading here, but what it needs first of all is more rain. Just give me some more rain here and break that drought completely. That little rain we had last day didn't break the drought here, but there should be more rain in the forecast here. Quite a lot of Europe is suffering from a really extensive drought. Denmark has not been badly hit, to be honest. We had a lot of warmth in June, and several heat records broken even. But all in all, I cannot complain if you compare with the rest of Europe. I just cannot. So all in all, it is looking great here. I would like some more water. I have had to water more than I would have liked to, But with those new plants and new trees and so on, I just had to do it, and also that new lawn would not yet be able to fend for itself. So it is actually looking rather great here, and I'm actually surprised that quite a lot of my lawn is not looking as bad as it could. But that is what it is, right? Thank you for watching. Bye bye.